Alright, so today we are looking at the Taurus G3C versus the P365 by Sig. You might be asking yourself, why are we comparing the amazing P365, the gun that started the whole high capacity micro compact? What is it about the Taurus G3C that makes us want to compare these two pistols? That's because this gun holds 12 rounds, and it's really not much bigger than this Sig here that holds 10 to 12 rounds depending on which magazine you put in it. So the Sig goes for about $500 to $600 depending on how many riots are currently going on in the country, and the Taurus will go for between I want to say $250 to $300 depending on, again, availability based on how crazy things are in the country at the time. Let's have a look at some of the details of these pistols. So let's look at the sights. You've got your muted dots on the back. So they're not really super bright dots in the back, and that's kind of been a trend over the last few years, and that's to help you pick out that front dot a little easier. And I really like that system. It works. We look at the Taurus, and it really works well for just staying out of the way and letting you focus on that front dot where you're supposed to be focusing. The Sig has a very good trigger. It's a curved metal trigger. I like it a lot. It breaks in a, let's pull that magazine out. So it breaks right where you would expect it to. There's a little bit of play, not much. Clean break. Let's look at that reset. Not too bad. Not super short, but not too bad. Very audible and tactile reset. And the same trigger pull again. It's a good trigger, it really is. Now, looking at the Taurus, we have a polymer trigger, and they have one of these little safety wedges in there. It feels like this pistol isn't even racked and ready to go. You see how far back it goes? It really throws you for a loop when you first start using this gun. However, when it hits that wall, it acts like a normal trigger. See that? Let's look at the reset. Short. It's got a tactile feel. It's audible. Next trigger pull is right there. Once you're here, it's very comparable to the Sig trigger. Very comparable. Now it wants to stop where the Sig trigger stops, right up here. This is not your typical striker fired trigger. This acts more like a double action, single action trigger. This trigger has a restrike capability. Double action on the first try, single action after that. So the first pull is back here. And you pull it and it's a long pull just like a double action Sig 229 or a revolver. Now after that, you go back to your single action. So anyways, it's tough to get used to that because you're gonna pull it and it doesn't want to go till it gets way back here, and you're like, what is going on with that? It feels like it's not even cocked, but it is, and it's going to throw you for a loop when you first start playing with this pistol. Whereas this one is right up there where you expect it to be, and so that's one of the main differences with the trigger. Okay, mags. Taurus comes with 3 of them. Sig comes with, I don't remember, it's been so long since I bought it, I believe 1 or 2. The magazine for this Taurus has a yellow follower. It makes it easy to see through your ejection port when the pistol is out of ammo. Whereas the black one kind of blends in. So let's look at safety. The Sig doesn't have the kind of safety system that the Taurus has. I like the Sig safety system better. There's no thumb safety here. Now, you can get this with the safety on it. You can buy a version. The Sig doesn't have the trigger blade safety in it. Most people hate that thing, myself included. I think it's great that this doesn't have it. So where's the safety on this? Well, it's not going to go bang if you drop it, supposedly. It basically doesn't have the kind of safeties that you would see on a Taurus. The manual thumb safety. It's basically like a Glock in that regard. And most people that conceal carry want it that way. The safeties are all internal so that it doesn't accidentally go bang when you're not expecting it to. If you drop it, bang it, whatever. But once it's chambered, you pull that trigger, it's going to go bang. With the Taurus, you have this trigger safety there, and that's just, I guess it has a couple of purposes. If you drop it, the trigger won't, if it wants to move back with momentum, the blade will stop it, or if something supposedly comes in from the side of the gun and pushes it on the side, it's not going to go back. I'm not sure how that could happen. I'm sure someone's done it in the past, but it's not a safety feature that most people even care about. As far as the thumb safety, you can leave it off and carry it that way and check it before you holster it. Make sure it's off if you don't want a safety. Otherwise, you just have to train with it to know that you're going to remember to throw that safety off when it's time to use it. Ergonomics. The stippling on this is ferocious. In fact, my PT111 G2, get it in the shot here. I actually sanded it down because it rubs your skin raw. Unless you have a t-shirt between you and the gun, it's going to get you. But the plus side is on the firing range, it's actually going to be excellent to hold on to. It's going to hold on excellent. Now on the Sig, ergonomics with the stippling, it's good stippling, it is, but you notice that I have a hoe grip on here, and that's because this grip is so skinny this direction, from left or from front to back, that is just, it was really uncomfortable for me to grab. And I don't have large hands. I would say small to medium sized hands, but it was too small. So I added this whole grip on here. Makes the gun easier for me to use with that grip on there, because it was just too small for my taste. Now everybody's different, obviously. It just comes down to what's going to be comfortable for you. But ergonomics wise, it's good. It's really good. You've got a high cut here under the trigger guard, and on this one you've got a little bit of an undercut on the trigger guard. It's not quite as pronounced as on the Sig. You've got front serrations on both. Some people like those to press check. Some people don't use those to press check. As far as reachability, I can reach everything just fine. The mag release is a little small on the Taurus. It's more triangular shaped on the Sig. I think it's a little easier to use and operate. Your control for the slide release is barely reachable from my smaller hands on this Sig. A little easier to reach on the Taurus. Now the takedown lever is a lot easier to operate on the Sig. You know, these little levers here, you just flip them down once you rack the slide back. The takedown levers on this Taurus are like Glock takedown levers. And it's kind of a, either you love them or you hate them. I don't like them. They work fine. I would prefer a lever to flip down. To me, that's a little easier. But ergonomics wise, how does it feel in the hand? That's going to be different for everybody. I feel like this Taurus, it fits my hand well. It feels good in the hand. I actually carried the PT111 G2 for a while when it came out a few years ago, just because I liked the capacity per size ratio. I thought 12 rounds in this size of a pistol, that's awesome. I liked it and I carried it for a while. I like the ergonomics. I like how it shoots. I carry the Sig way more now because the capacity per size ratio was better. But the ergonomics on this is just fine. I think they're both excellent as far as ergonomics go. Talk about quality. Great on the Sig, good on the Taurus. You're going to pay for that extra quality. What about it says it's better quality? The machining is a little better on the outside on the Sig. On the inside, it's better. The polymer Polymer's polymer for the most part. Sometimes you'll see a difference. You know, it's kind of hard to see, but you know, you can look and see that this line here is a little more noticeable on the mold for this Taurus than on the Sig, but you know, big deal. What else, if it's as reliable, what else would say the Sig is higher quality? The controls feel better. You know, the mag drop is designed better. The sights seem they seem better. Obviously, they're going to have the I think it's tritium, but they have the night sights that will glow for years, and you know, the Taurus doesn't. It has the sight that I think you can catch light in the room and glow for a little while. But even the polymer, when you look at it close, just seems a little nicer on the Sig. That really doesn't have much to do with how the firearm performs, but Sig quality, you know, there's a lot of details that go into the engineering and the build process that don't go into the Taurus. That it's probably going to make it like 1% more reliable, and you're going to pay more for that. But it does feel higher quality when they're in your hands and you're looking them over. You know, you've got the metal guide rod versus the plastic guide rod, things like that. You know, the finish on this Taurus is already getting scuffed, and it's a brand new pistol, and obviously it's not as tough as this finish on the Sig. You know, this one they actually use some kind of nitron finish, I believe, versus, well, I don't think they call it nitron. It's got a better finish. They blued the old PT111 G2 that I have, and it just the finish didn't last long at all. But there are some quality differences. Is it worth twice as much money? If you can afford it, you know, your firearm is always worth whatever you want to spend on it. It's something that's going to last for decades, and you're going to pass down to your children. You know, if you can get 1% more reliability, wouldn't you want that? If it's a parachute, it's meant to save your life. I think the quality's worth it with the Sig. However, that being said, there's nothing wrong with this Taurus's quality as far as reliability and function. It's just not quite as nice of a pistol. It is definitely worth the money. Hands down, time and again, definitely worth the money. I would carry this. If this was my only pistol, I would carry it no problem. I would train with it. I'd be just fine with this Taurus. I would be happy with it, and I would be accurate with it and proficient with it. I prefer the Sig. Shooting impressions at the range here in just a second, but first let's talk about the price one more time. $250 to $300, depending on availability. Worth every penny. $475 to $600, depending on the version and availability. Worth every penny. Which one should you buy? I would say you buy the one that is more important to you. You know, there's no right or wrong here. If it's me, I'm buying the Sig. If I was saving up for something else and I just didn't want to put the extra money on the Sig, I would buy that Taurus in a heartbeat and wouldn't worry one bit about it. Both excellent. You're just getting a little bit, few more percentage points higher quality and probably reliability down the road for twice the price up front. So they're both excellent, great pistols. One's just a little better and you know, more expensive. So let's go to the shooting range and shoot these and see how they handle, which one recoils more, which one's more accurate, things of that nature, and we'll come back here and talk about that. So we went to the range. We found out that these both shoot really, really excellent. You've got two great shooting firearms here. They're accurate, they don't misfire, zero malfunctions on both of them. I had small groupings with both of them. Might be giving myself a little extra credit there. But I had small groupings with both of them. I can hit a target from 20 feet accurately with both pistols. I can shoot both pistols fast. It just takes a little more practice for me on the Taurus because it's different than most of my other pistols. However, they're both capable, both accurate, both reliable, both worth every penny. I'm not going to say that the Sig is not worth the money because the Taurus shot about as well and was as reliable. You know, this is still worth the money. It is a little smaller. You know, we do need to look at size here. Taurus is a little thicker. We hold them like this. That's a little longer. So, size-wise, the Sig is smaller. It really is. Small enough to make a difference. Depends on your pants. If you've got a lot of room, the Taurus is fine. If you don't have a lot of room, you're going to wish you had the smaller Sig. Dress slacks, I almost always carry a thinner pistol like this Sig. The thin profile is really awesome for slacks or pants where you don't have a lot of room. I will typically wear a 32 in the waist. I typically buy my jeans or slacks in a 34, so I have that room. I will say that this Taurus is a little thinner than most double stacks, like your Glock 19, your 26. It definitely feels a little thinner, a little more svelte. It doesn't feel like it's as blocky or as thick as most double stacks, so it does conceal better. It does not conceal as better as these, or sorry, it's better. It does not conceal quite as well as these, and this is not even a single stack, but it's the size of a single stack. These micro compacts, like the Sig or the this P365 or the Hellcat or the Glock 43X, Glock 43. They're both going to conceal well. The Sig is going to conceal easier. There might be a time when some of your clothing doesn't quite have the room where you want to conceal a little better. If that's the case, you'll want to go with this Sig. You can actually drop this extended mag and put a flush fitting mag, and it's going to be even shorter. At that point, look at the difference. See the difference there? It is shorter. It is easier to conceal. It conceals better. Does it conceal $300 better? I can't call that for you. I can call it for me. Yes, it does. It conceals better. When you need that concealment, you need it. And the Sig outperforms the Taurus there. If there's never a situation that arises where you can't conceal that, then you don't have a problem. In conclusion, good, great, cheap, pricey, worth it, yes, worth it, yes, both worth it. Both high capacity per size, both perform well at the shooting range, and both overall excellent pistols.